You believe you make decisions with logic. But in truth, most of your choices are quietly negotiated by emotions you barely notice. We walk into conversations confident in our rationality. Yet underneath, every word is part of a silent tug-of-war for control. That's why the same arguments repeat. Why deals fall apart. Why people nod yes, while their heart whispers no. This isn't luck. It isn't personality. It's a pattern, a system, hiding in plain sight in every interaction of your life. That is what Never Split the Difference by Voss reveals. The hidden psychology of how influence truly works. Welcome to Beyond the Books, where we explore the truths you've always felt, but never fully understood. Here's the summary. The world does not move by logic alone. It moves by emotion. And yet, most of us try to solve problems, negotiate deals, and persuade others by leaning almost entirely on reason. That is the first illusion. The core insight of Never Split the Difference is simple, yet deeply counterintuitive. If you want to influence others, you must first understand the emotional system driving their decisions. Most people think negotiation is about facts, compromise, or meeting in the middle. But real negotiation, the kind that shapes careers, relationships, and life-changing outcomes, happens in the emotional circuits of the human brain. Think of the last time you tried to convince someone of something important. Maybe it was your boss, maybe your partner, maybe a family decision. You probably came armed with reasons, charts, evidence, and still, they didn't budge. Why? Because you were speaking the language of logic, while their brain was listening in the language of survival. This is the first hidden system Voss exposes. Humans are not rational calculators. We are emotional interpreters first, and rationalizers second. Consider the world of hostage negotiation. An armed man is threatening lives. The stakes are life and death. If negotiation were about logic, you'd say, "Put the gun down. You'll go to jail." This is a bad idea. But that almost never works. A brain under threat is not weighing probabilities. It is scanning for danger and safety. It is ruled by fear, by uncertainty, by the primal need to survive. Voss learned this in the FBI, and it reframed his entire understanding of human interaction. Here's the part most people miss. The same brain that makes a criminal irrational is the same brain across the table from you in daily life. Your boss, your client, your spouse. All human brains start with survival first, even in polite conversation. So the system begins with this principle. Influence flows through emotion, and emotion flows through safety and understanding. To make someone move, they must first feel heard. That is why the most effective negotiators do not open with arguments. They open with listening. Voss calls this tactical empathy. It sounds soft, but it is actually a lever of psychological precision. Tactical empathy is not agreement. It is the act of making someone feel fully understood. Through tone, through phrasing, through presence. When their brain senses this, the threat drops, defensiveness lowers, and only then can influence flow. The first tool is mirroring. When someone speaks, repeat the last few key words with a calm, curious inflection. They say, "I just don't think this price makes sense right now." You respond, "Doesn't make sense right now?" Then you pause. Their brain, sensing curiosity, not attack. Starts explaining itself. They reveal fears, doubts, and hidden priorities. Each mirror peels back a layer of emotional armor. It seems trivial, but here's the truth. Mirroring bypasses logical defenses and speaks directly to the unconscious need for validation. Humans relax when they feel genuinely understood. This is not persuasion by pressure. It is persuasion by alignment. Once the emotional doors begin to open, you move into labeling. Labeling is simply naming the emotion you perceive. You hear frustration. It sounds like you're frustrated. You notice doubt. It seems like you're unsure. The brain responds with a quiet sigh of relief. Because it feels, at last, someone sees me. This is the moment trust begins. A trust no stack of facts can buy. But Voss points to an even deeper moment. The goal is not to make the other person say, "You're right." "You're right" often means, "I want this conversation to end." The real breakthrough is when they say, "That's right." Because "that's right" means something different. It means you have named their world accurately. You have captured the pressure they feel, the fear beneath their position, the truth they were trying to protect. And when someone says, "That's right," their mind stops defending and starts opening. Zoom out to the bigger system. Why does labeling work? Because emotional acknowledgement shifts the nervous system from fight or flight to a state of collaboration. When the amygdala, our fear center, calms, the prefrontal cortex, our reasoning center, returns. In other words, empathy unlocks logic. Most people start with logic, and that is why they fail. But negotiation isn't just about emotion. It is also about control. Humans crave the feeling of control, even when they don't have it. And this is why Voss teaches something most people fear: the power of no. Most people chase yes. They want agreement, approval, a quick sign that things are moving forward. But a forced yes is fragile. It can hide doubt. It can hide pressure. It can hide resistance. No, on the other hand, can create safety. Because when someone is allowed to say no, they feel protected. They feel less trapped. They feel control returning to their hands. And once they feel control, they can finally think. This is why a skilled negotiator doesn't fear no. They may even invite it. Instead of asking, "Do you agree?" they might ask, "Would it be ridiculous to explore another option?" Instead of pushing, "Can we move forward?" they might ask, "Is now a bad time to talk?" The word no lowers pressure, and lowered pressure opens the door to honesty. No is not always rejection. Sometimes it is the beginning of real negotiation. The most effective negotiators give the other side the illusion of control, while quietly guiding the outcome. One tool: the calibrated question. Instead of saying, "That price is too high," you ask, "How am I supposed to make that work?" This does two things. One, it forces the other side to solve your problem for you. Two, it positions them as the decision maker, even as you steer the frame. Think about your daily life. Direct arguments raise walls, but a simple how or what question makes the other brain lean forward, problem solving instead of resisting, and moving closer to your position. This is calibrated influence in action. Then there is another subtle tool: the accusation audit. Before the other person attacks your weakness, you name it first. You say the uncomfortable truth out loud. You may feel like I'm asking for too much. You may think I haven't understood your side. You may feel this is unfair. At first, this sounds dangerous. Why would you bring up negatives? Because unspoken fears grow in the dark. When you name them clearly, you take away their teeth. You show the other person that you are not hiding from reality. You are willing to see what they see. And that lowers the emotional temperature before the real conversation begins. Negotiation, Voss teaches, is not a single moment of persuasion. It is a sequence of emotional states. Each stage unfolds in order. 1. Lower the threat with listening and mirroring. 2. Acknowledge emotions with labeling. 3. Reach "that's right" by naming their world accurately. 4. Create safety with no. 5. Create the illusion of control with calibrated questions. 6. Diffuse hidden resistance with accusation audits. 7. Guide gently toward your goal. Skip the first step, and the rest collapse. Here's the deeper lesson. Never split the difference. Isn't just about refusing to compromise on numbers. It's about refusing to trade understanding for the illusion of a quick resolution. Splitting the difference feels safe, but it often leaves value on the table or creates solutions that satisfy no one. By following the emotional system, you uncover the real variables that drive decisions. Sometimes it's not the price. It's the need for respect. Sometimes it's not the timeline. It's the fear of failure. Sometimes it's not the contract. It's the unspoken need to be heard. When you see this, negotiation becomes less about arguing and more about discovery. Here's the ultimate integration. All human interaction is a negotiation of emotion first, terms second. When you embody this, you speak less. You listen more deeply. You notice tone, pause, and breath. You start naming the emotions in the room. You stop fearing no. You listen for the moment they say, "That's right." And in doing so, people reveal what they truly need. The final insight. Negotiation is not an event. It is a relationship with reality. Every person you meet carries hidden fears and quiet desires. If you can map that emotional landscape, if you can lower the threat, if you can offer the feeling of control, and if you can make the truth safe enough to say, you can move mountains without ever raising your voice, because in the end, influence belongs to the one who truly understands. Most people speak to be heard. Few listen to truly see. So try this. Before your next conversation, pause and write one sentence. My goal is to understand, not convince. Carry that into the discussion and watch how the room changes. Comment, "That's right," if you're ready to listen before you persuade. Like this video, subscribe to Beyond the Books, and set your new standard. You don't just read negotiations now, you live them.